I don't know if you're going to debate your opponent.
I am somewhere. I don't know when. Yeah. I'm happy to debate him. I don't think the election's over yet on that score.
What do you think's going to happen? I can't imagine you're going to lose, but...
Well, look, he's promised if he doesn't win, there's going to be a bloodbath. Trump makes fun of me.
Right.
He was the kind of guy in the neighborhood who wish he could have gotten in the neighborhood, meet head to head.
Invited Biden to debate. He can do it anytime he wants, including tonight. I'm here. I'm ready, willing, and able. And if he wants, I'll do it on Monday night, Tuesday night, or Wednesday night. We'll be in Michigan, a state that he's destroyed.
Well, it seems that Dementia Joe flew all the way to New York City to go on the Howard Stern show and completely embarrass himself. In fact, actually, he embarrassed all of America. The demented one has no idea what he's talking about. He even went as far as talking to Howard Stern and saying, yeah, I'm going to debate Donald Trump. Meanwhile, we all know that's never going to happen. There's no way. There's absolutely no way that Puddinhead's puppet masters are going to allow him to get on a stage for 3 hours and debate Donald Trump. And he'd have to do it unscripted. So you know that's never happening. As you're going to see in some of the things he said on the Howard Stern interview, the teleprompter is the president at this point. He'll read whatever somebody says. If there's no teleprompter, the dude's in trouble. In addition to lying about debating Trump, he also brought up that bloodbath hoax once again. And then he tried to play tough. He tried to say that if things were different, he'd take Trump in the alley and the two of them would go at it. This is from a guy who just recently, people have decided he can't walk on grass alone. They had to change his shoes, and now he needs to be surrounded by people so he doesn't wander off or say the wrong thing, and possibly hide the way he walks, because people are seeing this guy, something's not right with his gait. He can't walk. He's got this old man, feeble man walk. We can't let people see that, as if we haven't been seeing it for quite some time already. But more on that in a moment. After hearing the things he said on the Howard Stern show, maybe that white powder they found in the White House was actually his, because the dude's high. And of course, after hearing Dementia Joe challenged him to a debate, Trump was all over it. In addition to his statement on camera right after his court hearing in New York, Trump posted this on Truth Social. Crooked Joe Biden just announced that he's willing to debate. Everyone knows he doesn't really mean it, but in case he does, I say anywhere, anytime, any place, an old expression used by fighters. I suggest Monday evening, Tuesday evening, or perhaps Wednesday evening at my rally in Michigan, a state that he's in the process of destroying with his electric vehicle mandate. In the alternative, he's in New York City today, although probably doesn't know it, and so am I, stuck in one of the many court cases that he instigated as election interference against a political opponent. A continuing witch hunt. It's the only way he thinks he can win. In fact, let's do the debate at the courthouse tonight on national television. I'll wait around. But as I said, Biden is all talk. That is, when he can actually put sentences together. He can't even walk, much less debate.
But the president has changed his walking routine out to the helicopter on the south lawn of the White House. And it's actually this iconic image that all presidents for a long time have enjoyed. The president walks out by himself, solo, to the chopper, and then people will typically then follow behind him and they'll fly off. But apparently the aides decided, and his team and handlers decided, his gait, his walk is looking a little shaky these days. And so they've started to surround him with people, a whole coterie of hangers on to accompany him, almost escort him out there.
Okay, so watch this. Look at all these people. They got off the backside of the helicopter, not sure why, and they're sitting there waiting for him to come down the stairs so they could descend upon him like vultures and surround him to make sure he goes the right direction and that you can't see him walk all kind of crooked, and really to make sure you don't throw any questions at him that he's not prepared for.
So maybe the way he's walking is less noticeable.
Politico, they said in March he was walking by himself. or with a family member like his wife. But starting April 16th, he was joined by staffers or lawmakers 9 out of the 10 times. So it just appears that they're changing. Axios is always also the one who did the story on changing his shoes so that he wears smarter shoes.
He wears smarter shoes. Just think about that. He had to change shoes to be able to walk around, especially in grass.
Well, more flexible shoes.
Right.
Smart. Well, we even saw that at the border that time when you got the chief of the Border Patrol, where he's supposed to be.
Look, so none of those people could get near him. When I say those people, the reporters could get anywhere near him. So they made sure there was a buffer. The president has a buffer.
He's looking at the border, but he's holding on to the Border Patrol chief as if he's a cane.
Right. So if you want to give the perception that you're young and vital and need 4 more years, this is not the best way to do it. Because just by him walking at his age, with the arthritis that he has, he does not walk well. And if you want to give people a sense that
This is the president of the United States. I mean, actually, come on, people. It's becoming just a joke around the world at this point.
America's in charge, a superpower, you always look to the president. And the president, when he walks like on uneven ground, it's like a Walenda walking between buildings. Well, you do not know what the next step will be your last.
You understand the Walenda? He's talking about the tightrope walker that used to, put the tightrope between the Twin Towers in New York and would walk that way because he had to be very careful that he didn't fall off. And that's exactly how Dementia Joe walks.
Wow. Ouch. I'm just telling you, Ryan.
Quote, instead of walking to and from Marine One by himself in the last week, Biden started walking surrounded by aides who are concerned that videos of Biden walking alone, especially on grass, have highlighted his age.
Do you think we didn't know how old he was? Did you think that just now on April 16th, when you decided to surround him in a cocoon, put him in a bubble, that now, only now, we realized that this guy was cuckoo, off his rocker, not even able to walk? Do you think we just noticed now? Wow, these people are getting desperate. Now, after his appearance on the Howard Stern show, and then hearing about this Axios article where he can't walk alone anymore, Judge Jeanine and Greg Gutfeld from the Five absolutely destroyed Dementia Joe. And I included the actual blatant lies that Joe said on the Howard Stern show. You're not going to believe this.
The fact that the real concern in the White House is that the tall grass is going to wipe out Joe Biden. And if you wonder why the economy is in the tank, we have an open border, and we have all these wars popping up all over the place, it's because the White House is more concerned about shielding Joe Biden walking to the helicopter than they are about solving any problems.
So true. Why are we even talking about this guy walking back and forth from the helicopter? We all know the situation he's in. We know what kind of shape this dude is in. You're not hiding anything. You're not protecting him. You're actually making it worse.
Love how these trials are fuel for Trump. If he's Popeye, lawfare is his spinach. He's not leading in the polls despite the trials. He's leading in the polls because of the trials, and it's hilarious to watch. It really is. Who would have thought the Howard Stern show would become the safe space for an elderly, clueless fossil? And also Joe Biden.
Now, I don't know if you guys remember, or maybe you're not old enough, or maybe you never even listened. Maybe you don't even know who Howard Stern was. But he was considered the original shock jock. His stuff was the edgiest you could find anywhere on the radio. Probably edgier than the old guy, Dr. Demento. But it was, he did just crazy, outrageous stuff. That was how he made his name. And now he's coddling Dementia Joe? Seriously, Howard? Man, you've slid bad.
Talking about a stiff gait. That's what this is part of a bigger scandal that should be called Feeble Gate, right? It's a scandal to cover up Biden's ever diminishing function. Let's be honest, the only way that Biden can look younger is to surround himself with corpses. And it's not the walk that should be alarming, it's the dementia, which makes him even more oblivious to the destruction of all our institutions. It's the woke handlers who are accelerating our nation's demise, and he's just there along for the ride.
Now, who believes, seriously, who believes that this guy is actually in control of America? That's not disinformation. That's not misinformation. That's just looking with your eyes. You can see this guy can barely walk. can barely talk, can't put sentences together, reads what's on the teleprompter even if it's directional. The other day he got on the teleprompter and he read a sentence and it said pause on the teleprompter, just to let you know as you're reading a teleprompter to pause, like I just did there. I'm not reading a teleprompter though. He actually read it. Blah, 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 pause. He's a Ron Burgundy of politicians.
Who knows how much longer he'll be there? I think it's also, it's also hard to walk when you got a load in your pants.
Ooh, Greg loaded right there.
I thought it was interesting, Judge, that there's part of this reporting in Politico about the people walking with him is he wanted more downtime, less formal time with his aides. So the walk between the White House and Marine One is supposed to be
that'll
it?
do it. I mean, that'll absolutely do it. I mean, look, the reason he's got his aides there is because they're going to ask him a question. It's quiet. There's nothing going on there, and they're afraid he's going to answer it.
And he will. He will say something stupid. Count on it. We've seen it over and over again.
And they're the ones who are going to make sure that he doesn't say anything that's out of line. It's obviously, we already know how he treats his aides. He curses at them. He yells at them. I mean, we've heard all the stories about what's going on in the White House, but
makes you wonder which one of those people in that picture actually is running things. Someone in this picture, if they're not running things, they're actually reporting to the people who are actually running things. The guy with the funny gait and the aviator sunglasses, he ain't running nothing.
I mean, I agree with Greg. I mean, the guy the guy's lost it. And what he's saying now, what he said on the Howard Stern show, he came up with even more lies. The guy's a plagiarist. He's plagiarized his whole career. I think it was his 88 or 98 presidential campaign. They threw him out because he was such a liar. And now he comes up with 4 new ones.
Okay, so she's going to read off her notes here where she's going to be talking about the 4 blatant lies he told on the Howard Stern show. I actually made a clip of each one of the lies specifically so you can hear from his mouth, his droning mouth, exactly what he said in reference to what she's talking about.
He said when he was a lifeguard, he saved a half a dozen people from drowning.
I learned a lot, and I made a lot of friends.
Did you ever save anyone's life when you were a lifeguard? Was anyone ever drowning?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, well, half a dozen times, usually younger kids, but...
You do the thing with the whistle and then jump in the bathing suit and get...
This is hard-hitting interview from Howard Stern, a shock jock. Did you have the whistle? Did you get to blow the whistle and actually, save someone's life?
You got it.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was a big pool. There were 7 lifeguard stands.
Wow. See, that would define my... I would brag about that everywhere I went.
Well,
No, you wouldn't. No. This guy sounds like he's talking to an old person in a nursing home.
By the way, I did it up in Lake Ontario, too, when I was in law school. But look, one of the things that...
Well, you saved a dude's life when you were in law school? You were still doing the lifeguard thing?
Lifeguards, people just need help sometimes. I mean, it's not like it's so...
People just need help sometimes. So you actually saved people when you were in law school, too? Yeah, I'm that kind of guy. I'm Joe. At least that's what I think I did. I have no idea.
Heroic.
Now, you want to tell me why he waited until he was 81 to tell people about that? Oh, number 2, and he said, get this, he said, whenever he, as a senator, received salacious pictures that women would give him, he would give it to the Secret Service.
I got put in that 10 most eligible bachelor's list.
Okay, so he mumbled, so I'm going to let you know what he just said. At some point, he was on the 10 most eligible bachelors list. I don't know whose list that was, but they put Joe on the 10 most eligible bachelors list. Okay.
Because you were a United States Senator, you were a catch. Yeah.
And so...
You were a catch.
And a lot of lovely women, but women would send very salacious pictures, and I'd just give them to the Secret Service.
Joe, you didn't have Secret Service when you were a senator.
I think he forgot that part. I think, when he was turning over these salacious pictures that the women who they were throwing themselves at him, he would turn it over to the Secret Service. He didn't have Secret Service protection. What an idiot.
Okay. Then he said when he was younger, he was on a porch with a black family. He was the only white kid on the porch with a black family. He was protesting segregation, and they arrested him.
And I looked.
Now this one might be the worst. This this blatant lie that he comes up with, how he was arrested during the segregation period as a young child, and he's letting people know that, he was there for the black people. He was for the black people.
To my mom, I said, honey, you haven't said anything. She said, Joey, let me remember. True story. She said, remember when they were desegregating Linfield, the neighborhood? There was, 70 homes built at one suburbia. And I told you, and there was a black family moving in, and there was people who were down there protesting. I told you not to go down there, and you went down. Remember that? And you got arrested for standing on the porch with a black family.
So the police arrested little Joey back in the day when he was growing up. The police arrested him, put him in handcuffs because he was hanging out with a black family. Raise your hand if you believe that crock of poop.
Right? They brought you back, the police? And I said, yeah, Mom, I remember that.
Joe, why would they arrest you? I mean, okay, and then he said he was a runner in state scoring football. What the hell is that?
But for example, I remember starting off playing Catholic League football, CIO football.
By the way, I don't think a lot of people know that you were a star receiver in high school.
Here comes Howard again with this basically hard-hitting interview about old Joe being a football star back in the day when they wore leather helmets.
A star receiver. You were the first string guy. You were the guy who caught the ball.
Runner-up in state scoring, Wow. But I was a run.
First of all, he always said he was the first one in his family to go to college. Then we heard that his grandfather played college football and he was the best. I mean, you need to have drinks when you go through this. You know what? It's just ridiculous. And this man is representing us. He talks to Xi Jinping. He talks to Putin. Oh my gosh.
Now, the funniest thing about all of that, basically leaving Washington, D.C., flying to New York, bringing the entire entourage, activating Marine One so you can get to the Air Force, Andrews Air Force Base, or Joint Base Andrews as they call it now. Turning on the switch and getting Air Force One, flying all the way up to New York City, stopping traffic, going through the city, stopping traffic, inhibiting people's movement, doing all of this to go to an interview with Howard Stern, where you talked about women sending you pictures, playing football back when they had leather helmets, hot women sending you nasty pictures, and being arrested because you were hanging out with a black family decades ago. Can someone tell me what the hell that has to do with a campaign for the President of the United States? Secondly, if you wanted to save all that money, just like when you campaigned the first time, why didn't you and Howard Stern just do that by, Zoom or something? Why did you have to go through all of that to fly to New York to lie to people about stuff they don't care about? Meanwhile, at the same time you were in New York, again, just as with the officer's funeral, Trump's down there meeting with the union, the construction workers, the actual people, and you're up in some studio in a New York City high-rise talking to Howard Stern about shit nobody cares about. Make it make sense. And this is the guy that the Democrats are putting up to run for re-election. I mean, are they serious people at this point? If we had an honest media and honest tech companies, this wouldn't even be a fight. It wouldn't even be close. And everything that he's doing is getting worse by the day. And all they can do is try to put a finger in the dike and stop the flood from coming through. He can't be trusted to talk to anybody. He can't be trusted to walk on grass. It is unbelievable. The gaslighting of America has to stop. More and more people have to begin taking notice and going, yeah, this isn't going to work. Hopefully people will see that these trials that they're putting Trump through are a bunch of BS. SCOTUS went through and basically destroyed them for trying to do this immunity case against him. The New York case is a travesty at best. It doesn't make any sense. It's got to end, and it only is going to end if people get out there and show their support and do everything they can to get Trump elected. Now, in that regard, last weekend or so, he had a rally in Wilmington that got rained out, had inclement weather. Despite only being live for basically 20 minutes. I had over 64,000 people tune in to my live broadcast. Well, Trump has a rally this Wednesday in Michigan, and I'm going to go live again, and I want to see if I can break 100,000 viewers with your help. So do me a favor, please, and click the button right here. You'll be able to get notified as soon as I go live on Wednesday night at 5:30. And leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this insane Howard Stern interview. Talk to you soon.